We've all been convinced that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But what if we've all been misled? Today, we're biting into a big one. Is breakfast really a must to start your day? Or have we been spoon-fed a tall tale? Grab your cereal or don't, and let's crack this case wide open. From early childhood, we're conditioned to believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. After hearing our moms repeatedly tell us not to skip breakfast because it's bad for us, or watching catchy cereal ads, breakfast has been crowned the champion of the table. But who handed over the crown, and how did breakfast become the Beyoncé of meals? Well, it didn't just wake up flawless, it had some help. Let's dive into a tale of health gurus, clever marketing, and find out how this fiasco started. Let's hop in our time machine, no seatbelt needed, and travel back to the 19th century. Meet Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, a man with some interesting ideas about health. Kellogg ran a wellness spa in Michigan, where meat and spices were a no-go. He believed bland foods could curb unhealthy desires, and this, kids, is how cornflakes were born. Kellogg wasn't just selling cornflakes, he was selling an idea. A healthy, wholesome breakfast as the key to a long and morally upright life. He believed that what you ate in the morning could set the tone for your entire day, physically and spiritually. Bland, simple foods like his cornflakes were his way of promoting balance and self-control. Why would people listen to Dr. Kellogg, you ask? Well, he was the ultimate health and wellness titan of his time, basically the original wellness influencer, minus the Instagram. He ran the famous Battle Creek Sanitarium, where the rich and famous flocked to detox, exercise, and, of course, eat his beloved cornflakes. Just like today's influencers, his celebrity clientele helped spread his wellness gospel to a wider audience, making his ideas about health go viral, 19th century style. But breakfast's rise to fame didn't end there. In the 1920s, Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, took this to a new, more sinister level. While Kellogg promoted breakfast as healthy, Bernays turned it into a calculated marketing machine, manipulating consumer habits and reshaping advertising in ways that would influence behavior for decades. Today, no matter where you are in the world, if you ask which meal is the most important of the day, most people will likely answer, breakfast. But what does all of this have to do with your bacon and eggs? Well, here's where it really starts to sizzle. In the 1920s, the Beech Nut Packing Company, yes, the bacon folks, wanted to fatten up their profits. Enter Bernays with a cooked-up plan. Get doctors to endorse a hearty breakfast featuring, you guessed it, bacon. Bernays got 4,500 doctors to agree that a heavier breakfast would be healthier, and soon headlines were screaming, "Doctors recommend bacon for breakfast." With that, bacon didn't just become a food, it became a doctor-approved morning necessity. And voila! The bacon and eggs combo we know today was born. You can thank Bernays for that. So, was this a health revolution or just clever marketing? This wasn't about health, it was about selling more food. And it worked. Suddenly, breakfast wasn't just an early meal, it was essential. It wasn't long before other food companies realized the potential profits in keeping breakfast at the top of your morning priorities. So, what's at stake if we stop seeing breakfast as the most important meal? For food companies, it's a lot of money. The global breakfast food market is projected to skyrocket from the $398.1 billion, last measured in 2021, to $729.5 billion by 2030, meaning that the idea of breakfast being vital represents potentially hundreds of billions in profit for food companies over the next decade. Americans spend over $9 billion annually on breakfast cereals alone. That's not even counting the billions more spent on eggs, bacon, breakfast bars, yogurt, and other morning staples. By the mid-20th century, food companies were pouring millions of dollars into advertising campaigns, specifically targeting children and parents. Kellogg's introduced mascots like Tony the Tiger, creating brand loyalty in children from a young age. The goal? Hook consumers early and keep them buying for life. Okay, so, let's recap. The breakfast is vital mantra still sticks for two main reasons: brilliant marketing and the fact that it's ingrained in us from an early age. And let's be honest, when something gets reinforced by colorful cartoon mascots and doctor-approved claims, it's tough to shake. While it's tough, it's not impossible. New health ideas and influencers are challenging long-held beliefs about breakfast. Science is emerging that goes against the myth that breakfast is essential, threatening what many have considered a dietary cornerstone. In 2018, Kellogg's alone spent over $700 million in marketing to keep cereals in the public consciousness, showing how desperate food giants are to maintain their dominance in the breakfast market. At the end of the day, food companies have a vested interest in keeping the breakfast is the most important meal narrative alive. After all, staying at the center of your morning routine means more dollars in their pockets. Exposing this myth poses a significant threat, especially because cereal consumption in the U.S. has dropped nearly 20% over the past decade, as health-conscious adults switch to intermittent fasting or protein-packed meals. In response, cereal makers are scrambling to stay relevant, slapping high-protein and high-fiber labels on cereals still loaded with processed ingredients and hidden sugars. So next time someone tells you breakfast is the day's most important meal, you can tell them that idea was cooked up by cereal kings and bacon barons. The food industry has spent decades and billions convincing us that breakfast is a must-have, but modern science tells us a different story. If these other alternative narratives keep getting pushed, a lot is at stake. Listen here to what Dr. Oz had to say about breakfast, for example.
We taught our whole lives that breakfast is the biggest most important meal, and this is counterintuitive to that.
I think that was a marketing hype, that you had to eat breakfast. The fact of the matter is, when you get up, if you're not hungry, do not eat till you are hungry.
While breakfast can be beneficial for some, providing energy and improving concentration, it isn't universally necessary. Studies show that for many, skipping breakfast doesn't negatively impact health and can fit into a balanced diet. In fact, many doctors now recommend skipping breakfast as a major key in weight loss and overall improved well-being. Turns out breakfast isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. Whether you're team breakfast feast or just coffee please, what matters is listening to your own body. So friends, remember, the only must-have in your morning is whatever makes you feel good. Thanks for joining me on this bite-sized journey through breakfast lore. If you found this episode tasty, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more myth-busting goodness. Got a myth you're curious about? Drop it in the comments below. You never know, it may be the next video we do. Until next time, keep questioning the menu.